Now, it's pretty obvious that horror games are by far my favourite games to play. I've played plenty of horror games in my life, many scaring me, but in today's video we'll be delving into 3 specific horror games that genuinely scared me. Now, I tried to go into some games that you may not have heard of, and also some games you will have heard of. Now, there definitely is some more games out there that have scared me, so let me know in the comments below what games scared you, but without further ado, let's get straight into the first game. Now we're going to start off with the first game, and it is by far one of my favorite game series of all time, and that is Fears to Fathom. But this is specifically Ironbark Lookout. Now this game is basically Firewatch as a horror game, and it's genuinely perfection in like any sort of elements of horror. However, what really scared me in this game is the atmosphere, as we're genuinely alone in the woods in a first person with no one around us, or so we think. In my opinion, this is genuinely the perfect premise for a AAA Friday the 13th game, but you know, we'll ignore that for now. The reason the atmosphere gets me so much is the fact that we know something is out there, but we just can't see it. And it's completely silent, and to me that's terrifying. This game delves into the fear of the unknown, and to me that is such an effective way of doing horror, and in my opinion that is really unique, because yes, there is horror games out there that have this sort of what is lying in the house, but ultimately this game does bring to the fact of what is actually in the woods, and when it reveals what is in the woods, it is something you just cannot expect. But the fact you have a gut feeling that someone is watching you at all times but just can't see them is always scary. Also, the killer involved is something we've never seen in Fears to Fathom, as it's more of a cult than our traditional, you know, crazy killer, intruder, or madman, which is a nice turn of pace for the series in my opinion. And to me, if you haven't played this game, definitely go check it out, because even though you know now it's a cult, the fact of the reveal is so surprising and it's so terrifying. No matter what happens, it will have you absolutely terrified, and ultimately it will have some crazy tension moments, and to me that is a great way of, you know, amplifying the horror in this game. Also, a cool thing is that these games have the whole mic integration, which is also a really cool thing. It's also really unique. I think most games that have, you know, delved into the whole mic being essential for this horror game, for the likes of games that will have the killer hear you, has more or less been popularized by this game series, and I feel like that's such a unique way to kind of indulge the people who play these games into the situations. But yeah, if you haven't checked out Fears to Fathom, go play them. The first chapter is completely free, and if you do enjoy, make sure to comment down below what you thought of it. But let's get straight on to the second game, which you might know a little bit more about. Now, this second game, I knew I would love it, but I also knew it would absolutely terrify me, and that is The Quarry. This is a game made by the same creators as Until Dawn, and in my opinion is actually better than Until Dawn, as we get a camp setting very similar to a Friday the 13th game. But not only is the setting and overall story terrifying, the story is actually really good. We get some really interesting characters. Obviously we get some cliches here and there, but to me this game is so entertaining, and honestly just so fun, as genuinely every decision we make kind of emphasizes how the story will play out, who will live, who will survive, and also the fact that this game is werewolves is something that I was begging for in a horror game. We don't get many of the old school monster movie type monsters in games very often, so it was definitely a change of pace to see that we would get werewolves in this game. When I first saw this, I thought it would be a slasher, and the fact it just twists to werewolves is something you cannot expect, and it's so entertaining. However, the scares don't just come from cheap jump scares. It's actually just the intensity of the decisions you need to make, along with the characters who are involved in these situations are actually likable enough to care about them, which emphasizes the fear for us as players when they get into danger, and ultimately it builds a bond with us to kind of think of, oh, who will we want to survive, who will we not really care about if they go and die, but ultimately we want to try and save everybody. Now, The Quarry is definitely a more AAA game and is kind of on the more expensive side, but it could be on sale right now on Steam with Summer Game Fest going on, so if you haven't played it, definitely go check it out. There are some recognizable actors in here, from the likes of Justice Smith, who you might have seen in Detective Pikachu. We also have, you know, the iconic Dewey from Scream. You know, he's always a recognizable face, but along with a few more surprises in there. So definitely go check it out if you haven't, and let me know what you thought of it. If you have played The Quarry, I'd love to hear your opinions on the comments below. But without further ado, let's get on to my favorite game of these three. Now this is Puppet Combo. They make PS1 style horror games, and honestly I'm annoyed at myself for how I didn't find these games sooner. Now if there's any game to scare me more than any other game I've played, it would be Murder House, due to the atmosphere and tension surrounding the house and the killer's AI mechanics that make this game just ultimately one of the scariest games I've ever played, as you can actually just be attacked at any point in the game, which adds so much more fear. With every hallway, every door opened, and every stroll through a hallway could lead to a loud jump scare or a death. Another huge thing that emphasizes the horror in this game is the fact that if you die, there is a possibility you have to go back all the way into another save file that could lead you to have to do a lot of progress all over again. And to me that is super, yes, annoying, but it's super intense, and it kind of adds to the whole thing of I can't die here, I don't want to die, because if I die I have to play the last 20 minutes all over again. Now definitely some people could think that's tedious, but to me I think it's genius. I think the fact that you will have to replay these certain moments if you die like at this current point just to me emphasizes the fact of I can't die here, and it emphasizes the tension of everyone being on edge when they're walking through this house, because the AI in this game surprised me on multiple occasions. I do have a full video delving into how scary this game was to me. That's how scared I was playing this game, and for those on stream, when I did stream this game, holy shoot, I cannot explain to you the tension and overall fear that was going through my brain at this point. I cannot imagine the last time a game done this for me, and ultimately if you haven't checked out Murder House, just go check it out. I'm not going to say a single word about the story. It's quite cheap on Steam. It's made by Puppet Combo, and they never miss when it comes to a horror game, so definitely go check it out. And ultimately those are the 3 games that absolutely terrified me. Now if you have any other horror games that you think would scare me, definitely let me know in the comments below, and ultimately let me know your favorite horror game in the comments below. I'm really intrigued to see what horror games you guys are super interested in. I'm also really looking forward to some new horror games that are dropping. We obviously had Blumhouse announce Summer Game Fest yesterday. Super excited to see what happens there. But ultimately, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate everyone taking the time out of their day to watch this video. Again, let me know your favorite horror game in the comments below, and as always, if you do like horror content on YouTube, definitely smash that subscribe button, and I'd really appreciate it. It goes a long way and it would mean the world to me. But thank you all so much for watching. I will check you in the next video, and as always, stay safe and peace. First shot of this episode, Tammy picks this house.
Oh, what about that one?
Now, if you ask me, that is the, worst house you can pick. It has wallpaper on the outside.